Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, April 3rd. It is 6:24 right now. We have market opening up in about 6 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set up this room real quick, and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. It's got a few things here to update, and we should be good to go. Um, Looks like we are good to go here. So let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. It's sent out. Looks like we are good to go. So, all right, as people join in, I'm going to go ahead and start marking up liquidity over here. Daily chart. Down to the 4 hour. Down to the 1 hour. Down to the 30 minute. Down to the 15 minute. Down to the 10 minute. And back down to the 1 minute here. All right, guys. Good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, April 3rd. It is 6:27 right now. We have market opening up in about 3 minutes. I've marked up liquidity over here. Closest level of liquidity above is at 41,338. Closest level of liquidity below is at 41,206. We got market opening up shortly in a few minutes. So let's see what's here so far. Morning, Stephen. Morning, Maria. Morning, Lila. Morning, everybody. Let's see. So Patricia said, don't trade circuit breaker 500 points away from NQ and YM. Thanks, Patricia. All right, guys. So yeah, Patricia mentioned that let's see how far prices moved. The price kind of dumped down a little bit. It looks like it dumped down pretty heavy. Yeah. So we've had a huge drop over here from, I guess, yesterday once the tariff news came out. Oh yeah, shit, this is a lot. Thanks, Patricia, for letting it. I didn't realize this thing dropped this much. Damn, this is, I need to find my phone. I need to check if my other stocks are alive right now. Yeah, this is a huge drop, guys. So, if you guys remembered yesterday, the tariff news was released, and you guys can see over here that Man, this is pretty crazy. I haven't seen a drop like this since COVID. Like, so from yesterday, basically yesterday market close up until today, right now, this has dropped about 1,679 points. It's a lot of points, guys. So direction for the breakout, if you guys want to take this, is going to be a buy. I would be very careful taking any entries right now, specifically because, like Patricia said, the circuit breakers are may get activated if price drops another 50 points. So if you guys are looking to take the breakout, I mean, feel free to take it at your own risk and understand that this is going to be a pretty crazy move, I'd say. Well, I don't know if it'd be crazy, but it's going to move for sure. Market is opening up in about 2 seconds, and market is now open right here. So like I said, I wouldn't take anything here right now because market's just too crazy at the moment. I would wait to see how the market here kind of moves around a little bit and then take an entry a little later, because just there's no point in taking entries here at the moment because of the craziness in the market movement. So you guys can see that big spike right there, and then it comes right back up. So I will continue watching here for price to move around. Let me see if there was news for today, I believe. So this morning we had news over here at 5:30, and look at this huge spike to the upside. So if you guys waited a little bit, it obviously would have spiked right back up right here. Oh, dang. Let me go to the 1 minute. Yeah, so this thing over here spiked down and spiked all the way back up. The ATR is currently at 33, so it's not, I wouldn't say it's super bad. But I would say just wait for the market here to kind of stabilize a little bit. So you can see over here on open, market spiked down about like 60 points, and then it spiked right back up about like 50 points. So nice. So Steven over here waited for the spike down, and then he got in a little late. So Steven actually got the breakout, even though, I didn't necessarily hit directly. But if you waited for a little bit, it would have played through after, like I was mentioning. So, all right, we will, yeah, Kyle said NQ circuit breaker is 18,360. Did they send an email for that, Kyle? Let me check. Yeah, let's kind of chill out for a little bit. Okay, Zoom said top step said NQ's at 18,770. Okay, it's good to know. Shiv's asking what's a circuit breaker. So if you guys didn't trade with me during COVID, circuit breakers, basically what happens if the market drops too much, then they freeze the market. Or they freeze it where you can't enter any more trades. You can only liquidate. So what happens is if price drops too heavily to the downside, like right now, for example, if you go over here on the 10-minute, prices came down about, like I said, 1,600 points, which is a lot, because if you compare this to forex or like indices, this is basically 16,000 pips, right? That's a lot of pips. So whenever price drops to a certain point, there's these things called circuit breakers where they freeze the market, basically. So like market will just freeze. It'll be at a standstill because they don't want price to keep selling off. So if that happens, the market just freezes and you're kind of stuck in a position. And then when it reopens, you're going to see some crazy spikes, like to the upside or to the downside, because all of those people who are waiting to get out of their position, it just floods the market with a ton of orders. So exactly, yeah, like what Brock said, it's a temporary pause. And like what Ark said, it's kind of like a flash crash, because the market will freeze for like 5 to 10 minutes. Like the market's just nothing happens. And then as soon as the circuit breakers are uplifted, a bunch of orders just come flooding in. So like you're gonna see a big spike up, big spike down, and the spread's gonna be super crazy. Like it's like how the market closes for the weekend. So as long as price doesn't keep dropping, then the circuit breakers won't be activated. So what happens here is that they want price to push back up so that we can kind of recoup the losses. And as long as price pushes up, the circuit breakers won't get activated. If it drops any lower, they'll get activated and the market's just going to be frozen. So we'll continue to look for opportunities here. But like I said, we maybe kind of like wait for the market to kind of stabilize a little bit. So let it kind of push around for a bit, like maybe about till 7 o'clock, because the ATR is too high right now anyways. Obviously there's going to be a disconnect between people who are looking to activate those circuit breakers or people who are looking to save the market and push it back up higher, like AK buying the dip, because it's got a long way to go for it to recoup this whole loss right here, right? Basically from this upper area to here, right? It's going to have to move like 1,400 points, which is a lot. Typically on an average day, it doesn't even move about like 100 200 points. So it's a lot for it to recover. It just kind of depends on like how the market's reacting to the news with the tariffs, which is not going to be good, obviously, right? The tariffs aren't good for the market. So realistically, price will probably keep dropping eventually, like, by the end of today. And you can see here it is coming back down because there's nothing really to save this unless Trump just, out of nowhere says, "Oh, we're gonna backtrack on these tariffs," which I don't think he's gonna do. Yeah, Brock said salivating at the liquidity up top long term. Yeah, eventually this is it's gonna get recouped, right? The market's not gonna keep crashing. Like I don't think the market will keep crashing. I think eventually it's gonna have to recoup this. Like this whole drop that happened, it's gonna have to. It's gonna come back eventually. I mean, it might not come back today, it might not come back tomorrow, but eventually price is gonna come back to the upside. It's just a matter of when. Like when is market actually going to come back up? So just keep that in mind. So I think what I would do here personally is I'd probably just wait for the ATR to kind of drop down a little bit. It's a little too high. It's at 48 ATR. I'd probably look for this to come down to like maybe 40, like closer to like 40. Because the thing is, if your TP stop loss is like 30 points, it's going to be tricky, of course, right? Because you probably hit your stop loss before you hit your TP if it ends up spiking. Right? Because every candle is going to be bigger than 30 points. The ATR is getting even higher. It's now at 50. So if you guys do want to keep trading, I would say, possibly increase your TP stop loss to maybe 50-50 or even 40-40 to accumulate to the ATR for the day. Or you can just wait. For me personally, I would just wait a little bit and let the market kind of stabilize. And then I don't know if it'll stabilize though. You can see the ATR is just getting a little higher. So it's just going to be a matter of time. I'll probably wait until about 7 o'clock. Wait until 7 o'clock, let the market kind of like smoothen out. Once it smoothens out and we can understand that the market's not going to be dropping heavy or pushing up heavy, then we can kind of look for our little moves in between. Well, let's just do a full analysis of the market. I believe there's news for today. So we had news at 5:30. I'll mark that up. There was news over here at 5:30. I mean, it's probably not going to have a huge impact because there's other things happening that's causing the market to move kind of crazy today. Yeah, if you guys trade with me during COVID, you guys know what the circuit breakers are and you guys know how they react. It's I don't think it's gonna be as crazy as COVID. It's just in COVID, everyone was super scared and everyone sold off. So like it just dumped super crazy. I think for the tariffs here as well, there's some fear in the market, but not enough to crash the market. Obviously there's gonna be people there looking to buy the dip because you're getting it at a pretty good discount. So for today, we have news at 6:45. It's S&P Global Services PMI and Global Composite PMI. This is both inflation news. So we got that coming up shortly at about 6:45. I'm going to mark that up right here. And then we have more news right after. At 7 o'clock, we have ISM Services PMI, which is also inflation news. And then I think that's about it. We have gas stock change over here at 7:30. It's low impact, so not a big deal. But the big news events are right here at 6:45 and 7 o'clock. All right, no need to force anything right now, guys. Like I said, the ATR is going to be all over the place. You can see right here, it's currently at 52. and we don't really have much of a direction. Price is kind of just bouncing back and forth right here. It's bouncing back and forth between the liquidity right here and the news price, and the median area right here is going to be the sessions. Yeah, Sam said anyone new should avoid today or only take A++. It's just a suggestion. Today's not normal. Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Sam. It's it is, I mean, it's gonna move pretty crazy right now. So let me look back over here. Looks like Brian was testing out the MPS V2. So for the MPS V2 right here, guys, I know there was an MPS V2 that came up, but it was right at the red flag. So there's a buy signal that pushed up, it retraced right here, and it came back up. So there's a couple of reasons not to take this right here. I mean, a lot of reasons actually. So for one, it was at the red flag, which was at the sessions. I know you papered it just to test it out, but I'm going to give some analysis here just so you know there's some reasoning behind why this should have been skipped. So it was right here at the session. That's like one of the red flags. Number two, I think this candle was huge. So let me measure this candle real quick. Yeah, this candle was 100 points. So this for sure should have been one to avoid. It was 107 points. The reason why you would avoid something big like that is because like I said earlier, if your stop loss is or if your TP stop loss is 30 points, like it's likely to come down and stop you out first and then push back up because the candle's so big. So just like two reasons right there to possibly, avoid specific entries like this. This is kind of what screwed us yesterday, right? Yesterday I took an MPS V2 and I got screwed because the candle was too big. What happened was price came down and then it came right back up. It's just the inconsistency with these candle sizes will cause like stuff like that to happen. Because like I said, if you want to take something and you still want to take it, like you just have to adjust your TP stop loss to something a bit higher. But I would just sit out, like we said, because you can see price here is just consolidating between the liquidity up here. So we got price consolidating between the liquidity up here and the news price down here. So that's kind of what's happening right here. It's nothing crazy. It's just price going back and forth between this area. Ideally, you want to see price kind of break out of this area. So right now it's currently right here down the middle. You want to look for it to possibly push up and climb up higher, or in the opposite, push down and climb down lower. You don't really want to trade within this middle area. Because the thing is, like, look at these candles, look how big these wicks are. I think the wicks are probably even bigger than the 30 points I would be looking for. Yeah, the wicks are like 50 points. So like the wicks, you could get stopped out just by the wicks, not even by the whole candle size. But anyways, let's go back and let's take a full I mean, it's not really going to make a difference because it is bearish, of course. So let's take a look over here. 4 hours bearish, 1 hour bearish, 30-minute bearish, right? It's bearish because price is below the pivots. The trend meter is red. The pivots are angling to the downside. This indicates that we're in an overall bearish trend on the higher time frames. Looking over here on the lower time frames, the 10-minute is bearish because price is below the pivots. Trend meter is red. Pivots are angling to the downside. For the 5-minute over here, price is shifting a little bit. It was bearish, then it went bullish, and now it's neutral. Price is going sideways. For the 1 minute over here, price has shifted. It was bearish, then it shifted to bullish, and it's attempting to correct right now. So the 1 minute is trying to correct to the upside, but you can see it's having trouble. It's just stuck within this range right here. So what's happening right here is that people are buying the dip. And by people, I mean like the longer term investors, right? They're buying the dip here because it's at such a discount. And they're trying to push price to the upside. The only problem here is that it's not really working because there's more sellers right now kind of holding price down. You can see price is trying to get past this area up here, but it's not having any luck, right? So for me, I think the longer term direction is it's still going to come down further. Yeah, Brock said times like this are the times to be careful about news. They might use news to correct price. I agree. So let's see where the news is going to take price. We have news right here at 6:45. I'm assuming it's going to be negative. The inflation news should be negative because of the tariffs and everything that just came out recently. So looking over here, we got the news coming out in about 40 seconds. It's forecasted to be positive, but I think it's going to be negative. But we'll see. We got 30 seconds right here until news comes out at 6:45. So I think there's going to be a big push in price right here once the news gets released. The ATR is still super high. So at this point, it's a time to just sit back and just wait for the market here to kind of stabilize a little bit. Like I said, market here has not stabilized yet. It's still pushing back and forth. It looks like price isn't moving very much, but if you look at the actual size of these candles, this is about 100-point range. So it is moving quite a bit. And there we go with the news candle. News is loading. Let's see what's going to be. Still loading right now. I want to mark this up as news. So the good thing with the news here is that the news lines up together with the previous news from this morning. I'm going to mark up opening price as well, which is this big candle. All right, price is dropping. The news here was neutral for the composite PMI, and then it was positive. It was slightly positive for the services PMI. I don't think the data here has caught up with the tariff news yet. So I think next month it's going to be negative. It's like pretty much on point. It's where it should be. It's exactly where it was anticipated for the composite, and then just like 0.1 of a point for services PMI. We got another inflation news event over here. It's services PMI at 7 o'clock. It's probably going to be right where it was expected, but it's not necessarily going to have I don't think it's going to make a difference in the market. I think the main thing that's really pushing market right now is going to be the tariff news and how it's going to affect the market overall. Let's check CNBC real quick. So breaking news right here, it says Trump tariffs live updates. Market shaken as global trade tensions escalate. Yeah, obviously here, this is why I'm saying the inflation price is going to go up. Like, for example, it says tariff will raise prices of footwear, major trade group says. Of course, because everything's made in like these other countries, right? Like Bangladesh. I think the Bangladesh, most Nikes are made in Bangladesh. So it's like and Vietnam, which is like their tariff was crazy for Vietnam and for Bangladesh. It was like 100%, I think, or something like that. So obviously the price of everything is going to go up, and that's not good for economy. And here we go, as price starts to drop lower. So if you're looking to take an entry here, guys, an MPSV2 may start to set up. The only problem here is these candles are going to be pretty huge. Like you can see this current candle right here, it's about 50 points. The ATR is at 56. So if you want to take any entries here, your TP stop loss should be pretty much like pretty higher. Probably instead of doing a 30-30, you might want to do a 50-50 instead. For me personally, I'm probably just going to sit out, wait a little bit. Yeah, Sam over here mentioned gold dropped 1,000 points. So that's so much volatility. I agree. I think everything is, let's see, let's go to NQ real quick. NQ is kind of staying flat right here, but it's starting to dump right back down. ES over here, same thing. It was a little flat, now it's starting to dump down. Looking at gold. So gold is correcting back up right now. It dumped a whole bunch right here, pre-market, and then now it's correcting back up. So everything is moving. I mean, there's a lot of volatility for a lot of things here. Here's going to be the possible setup for the MPSV2. If you guys want to take it, feel free. I'm going to sit out for a little bit. Like I said, I don't think this is a good time to enter any trades because it's just so unpredictable, right? Like you could have an MPSV2 setup, but then price might just bounce off this liquidity and correct back up to open. I think the volatility here is it's not consistent. The volatility and the direction aren't consistent, in my opinion. I think right now there's just too much back and forth. So if you guys want to take this is an MPSV2 that's starting to set up. Again, like I said, if you want to take it, you probably want to go for a bigger TP stop loss because the candles here are pretty big. So I'm not going to take this position, but I'll mark it up for you guys if you guys want to follow. I'm going to be a little more cautious today. And just a heads up, guys. So I know yesterday I had an issue with my my Ninja. So the numbers were so off for the gross realized. Once I disconnected and then reconnected, it fixed. So my overall stats for the week or my overall profits for the week are like closer to break even versus like having that huge gross loss. Um, because like the accounts were kind of like split up. Some of them have one loss and then some of them have like break even for the most part. So thankfully that wasn't the case where I had like a lot of drawdown on my accounts. It was just NinjaTrader was kind of screwed up because of the disconnect. All right, so this is an MPSV2, guys. If anybody's looking to take it, I'm not in this position. I don't recommend taking it because of the volatility. And you can see over here, huge spike, right? This is why I was warning you guys not to take the entry because there's not any consistency with the direction of price. So I mean, did kind of what I just warned you guys about. I said this is probably not going to be a good entry because this is probably going to bounce off here and then spike back to the open. So again, guys, I would recommend just sitting out of the market for right now. There's no need to force anything. The ATR just keeps getting higher and higher. Right? Initially opened at 30, went to 35, went to 40, 45. Now we're at 60. It's way too high. Yeah, we're at 60 now. So the problem with this here is that each candle is moving so largely, right? Like even this candle is irregular. ATR is at 60, but this candle over here is almost 100 points, or maybe it's past 100 points. Yeah, it's about a 100-point candle. So again, guys, I would probably recommend just sitting out for a little bit and just waiting for the market here to stabilize. Because right now there's no, like, it's going to be hard to guess, even if you wanted to just guess what direction price is going to go. I think everybody thinks price is going to come down. So it's going to be easy for the market makers here and in general to pretty much spike people out and then come back down. Ideally, I mean, that's the logical move there, right? If everybody thinks price is going down, whoever wants to take these sells here, unless you have a super wide stop loss, um, you're probably gonna get stopped out. And then vice versa for the buy. You know, if you want to chase the buy here, it's probably gonna spike down like 100 points and then come back up. So unless you have like an extremely wide stop loss, you're probably gonna get stopped out no matter the direction you guys take. Because this over here pushed up 100 points and then now it came back down another 60 points. So I would just wait for the ATR. So I would say follow the market and look for this ATR to start to dwindle down a little bit, closer to like to the 40 mark. It's going to slow down eventually, right? The market's not going to keep moving super volatile all day unless there's something else that gets released. I don't know if Trump has anything else going on today. The problem here is that a lot of these other countries are going to retaliate, right? So right here it says Stellantis idles plants in Mexico and Canada due to tariffs. So like right here, a lot of these companies, they're just not working now. So everyone's trying to fight back based off Trump's tariffs. They're either not going to work or they're not going to trade. And by trade, I don't mean the market. I mean trade like goods and stuff like that. Yeah, everything here, right? So it says if you look at any of the news events here, there's like everything is reacting to the tariffs. So you're gonna get a mix in market movement because there's so much going on. Yeah, and this was we already talked about this too. So it says Trump's tariffs, if sustained, likely to push the US and the globe into recession. Right? We talked about this last week. I mentioned this was going to be the case if the tariffs go through, and the tariffs have gone through yesterday. So again, guys, like I said, probably just wait a little bit for the market here to stabilize. It's 653 right now. And we still got some time. So I'm going to wait until like closer to 7 o'clock. The circuit breakers might get activated, guys. Price is dropping lower. So market open from right here. I think the circuit breakers were supposed to be about 500 points away, like Patricia mentioned. I don't know what the exact number is, but we're getting closer to it. So market open right here. And the circuit breakers might be somewhere around this area down here. I'm not sure exactly where, but I mean, they're going to get activated if they keep dropping. This does remind me of COVID though, because like with COVID, what we used to do a lot, and I don't recommend you guys do this, but whenever a sell opportunity would come up, I would just kind of get into it with like a super, super wide TP stop loss. Like I think like 100, that was what we were doing. So again, I don't recommend it, but so for example, if you took the MPSV2 here with a 100-point TP stop loss, like you'd survive the retracement and then it's coming back down. So I mean, if you want to be in this for the long haul, that's something that you guys can do, but I don't recommend it. We did this during COVID and it worked pretty well, but this isn't COVID, right? This is different. Like with COVID, it was just global fear. For this, the tariffs, it's kind of like a back and forth. It's like the US is putting everybody into fear, but not everybody's going to be scared to take, not everyone's going to be scared to sell off. There's going to be a lot of other players in the market who are looking to buy the dip actually. So 58 ATR again, I'm kind of just waiting here for it to stabilize a little bit. I think as we get closer below 50, then we can possibly start looking for opportunities for entry. But like right now, it's just not what we would want to look for. All right, let's just take a look at everything again. So it doesn't matter over here with the overall trend because it's always going to be bearish. Price is dumping. Looking over here at the market profile, we do have a rejection right here off the value low. Looking over here at the market profile in the 30-minute, we have a rejection off the value low as well. Looking over here on the 1-hour market profile, rejection as well. So obviously the sells here are going to be valid, right? If you're looking for sells here, that's probably what you want to focus on. Clean chart over here. No rejections or prices dumping further. I would mark up the support resistance, but again, I don't think this is going to be super useful right now. I guess we can look for the bounce points down here. My laptop is connected, or my desktop is connected. All right, we got the 4-hour support down here. So I'm just marking this up so that we can kind of see where the possible support resistance is sitting. Not that it really makes a huge difference, but it'll still be useful. Yeah, it's not gonna make a big difference because price is a little far off. So if price does continue to drop lower, I mean, the support for the 4 hour is going to be way down here, which is going to be circuit breaker territory anyways. All right, let's see what we got. All right, we got the news coming up right here at 7 o'clock. The ATR is starting to slow down a little bit, sort of. It's down to 56. So like I said, just wait for it to drop down closer to 40. That's when you're going to start to see like normal market movement. Right now, it's very regular. Yeah, constant circuit breaker is at 5%. Yeah, so Rashida said YM is at 40,368. Yeah, that's kind of where I kind of I thought it was going to be at. It's going to be closer to that whole number of 40,000 down here. So we still got we got a ways to go. It's gonna be closer to like this area down here, closer to the 40,000 mark. So we're probably not going to hit circuit breakers during the live set, like during our time here, guys, because I don't think it's going to drop that much within the next hour. The circuit breaker might get activated later in the session though. So like later in the afternoon. You can see here it's starting to stabilize a little bit. Okay, now never mind, take that back. So right now it dropped down to 52. And then the news candle came up right here and it dropped down to 56. So we got the news candle right here. Starting to drop pretty heavy based off the news. Let me see what the news was. News was negative. So it kind of did like what I was expecting for the previous inflation news. I mean, it just makes sense. Everything here is going to go up, or not go up, but it's going to be worse for the market. So composite PMI was neutral. Services PMI was just slightly negative. Services PMI was pretty negative. It was forecasted to be 53. It was 50.8. So it dropped about 3 points. So inflation news over here overall is not good, which was expected. Again, I'm just looking for the market here to kind of stabilize a little bit so I can start looking for some opportunities, even if it's just one. The ATR is starting to kind of drop down a little bit. It's at 57. Again, we want this to get lower and lower. That's a key thing. We want it to get lower, not higher. Because the higher it is, the harder it's going to be to get into a position. Yeah, Ark over here said that's what he did. He just widened his TP stop loss, which is the logical thing to do here. So ATR is so high. So if you really want to take an entry, I mean, you can either go up to like 60-60 or can even go up to 100-100 if you just want to hold on to it and then scale in like what Ark is doing. I know Ark had a question about scaling in. I think having a 100-point TP stop loss target will allow you to scale in if you really just want to scale in. So what I mean by scaling in is like, say, for example, you get an MPS V2 entry, you can enter with a few contract sizes just to let the trade kind of push through and breathe. And then you can scale in with more positions as price drops any lower. I only recommend doing that if you know how to scale in. Otherwise, just wait for the market here to slow down a little bit and then get in for a regular type entry. So again, I'm just going to keep focusing on the ATR down here because the ATR is going to show me if the market is going back to normal. Not going back to normal, but just the movement is going back to normal. So what we kind of want to see here is we want the market to kind of stabilize a little bit, just go sideways so that the ATR can slow down. And then once it slows down, we'll look for a slight push to the upside for correction, or we'll look for a slight push to the downside for continuation to the downside. Yeah, Rashid said I was literally setting up a sell limit at 41.83. Didn't get a chance to. Yeah, it's moving too fast. It's hard to set up the orders because by the time you set up the order, it's either dropped a whole bunch or it's pushed up a whole bunch. All right, so looking at the ATR, guys, it's at 54. So it's starting to slow down a little bit. Earlier it was at 60. It's now down to like 55, 56. There's no point in looking at the trend because obviously it's going to be bearish. So we don't need an update with the trend. Probably look over here at market profile, see if there's any updates. There should be an update. Updated slightly. Obviously, we have the upwards rejection. Going over here to the 30-minute. So this is what I would look for on the 30-minute time frame. I would look for a possible correction back up a little bit. Rejection off the value low. and then a continuation back down lower. So I just saw a big contract get dropped in for not a huge contract, but okay. So 50 contracts came in at 41.25, 41,025. Let me go over here to the clean chart or our main chart to kind of see where that order came in from. Right here. Basically, get this candle open. So what I would look for here personally is I'd look for the retracement, basically a fake out, and then continuation back down. Looking at the time and sales, about 60 contracts got filled right here at this black line for a sell. Obviously, those aren't stop losses getting filled. I think those are, or they could be stop losses getting filled for people who are trying to catch the bounce right here. Or it could just be people that are bandwagoning onto the sells. Let me see how far would that be. Yeah, that looks like it could be stop loss getting filled for whoever is looking to buy the dip. This is why it's tricky because like the thing is people are trying to buy the dip, but I think price is going to keep dipping. Like this is what I mean about like this being different from COVID. Because for COVID, it was like a free fall, right? Everyone was selling, like literally everybody was selling. Nobody was buying the dip. The thing with this here is that eventually a support's going to get established. And then once that support gets established, it's going to climb back up for a correction. That's why I'm waiting for this ATR to slow down a little bit. Because once the ATR slows down, we're probably going to be able to catch that support get established, and then it's going to slowly climb back up. And you can see right there, it's trying to drop, right? It's down at 52 ATR now. Eventually, there's going to be a support that's going to be established because the market's not going to crash. We're not looking for a market crash. We're looking for a market to drop because of the tariff news, and then we're looking for correction back to the upside. Because realistically, the market's not going to, like, we might go into a recession, but I don't think the market's going to crash. It's more so like market dumps and then correction happens. And then it's going to keep correcting until Trump does something else, right? I think that's the key thing to look out for. It's like once more tariffs get released, or if this trade war gets any worse, then it's going to dump again, and then more people are going to buy at a discount, and it's just going to keep doing that. Because you think about it. So if you think about it right here, guys, like let's see, let me go on the higher time frame. So if you think about it, if someone can buy at a discount right here, like say for example, you buy right here, and you're a long-term investor. If you buy from here and then you catch this huge correction, that's gonna be a ton of money, right? So what I can see here is a lot of people are going to average in. So I think, people are going to have like big orders for buys, and they're just going to keep buying as price drops lower. It drops lower, they buy a bunch of contracts. Price drops lower, and then they just keep buying, right? When support gets lifted, they just dollar cost average in. Price dumps, they buy. This isn't us. This is going to be for the longer term investors. Price drops further, and they just keep buying, right? Because they keep averaging in. So even though price is dropping, they average in, and once they catch the final drop, they're going to make a killing once price goes all the way back up. So that's kind of what I'm expecting here, and that's what I'm kind of looking for. I'm looking for that floor to be established. So once that floor is established, we can catch that correction back up. We don't need to catch the big move. We just want to catch like the small climb back up. Yeah, exactly. What Sharon said, no rush, agree, steady sell off. That's pretty much what's happening here. It's just a steady sell off until the bounce happens. But again, I don't know if the bounce will happen right now. It might happen tomorrow. So I think this would be a good time to follow the news. If you guys are watching the news or anything like that, there's going to be breaking news all throughout the day. See, there's another one right here. It says Dow craters 1,300 points. S&P heads for the worst drop in 2 years after Trump's tariff rollout. See, another big sell contract at 40,950. So it's still dumping right now. Sam said, I wonder how much MicroStrategy guys must be making today. Is it up right now? Because for MicroStrategy, they basically buy into Bitcoin, right? From what I remember. Let's see, we can even look up there. Not futures. Now it looks like MicroStrategy is kind of like they're just I mean they took a big dump right here, but then they started to just kind of stabilize. So it looks like they're not really, I mean they're making money, but it's like it's in a range for them. I guess we'll see what happens tomorrow. But it is in a downwards trend right now, it looks like. We'll see. Yeah, because I think for oh, you're talking about mine. Yeah, no, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, Sam actually meant the micro scalp strategy. Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, looking at this here, it's because this thing keeps dumping. So like if you were taking the micro scalp strategy here, like the actual strategy, it's easy to just catch this. As long as your stop loss is wide enough, like you can probably have a 100-point stop loss and then just keep writing this down lower just to catch the retracement, right? Because if you have like about if you catch 100 points, basically recoup that. Yeah, because that'd be like I think every drop would probably be like 10 to 20 points. All right, so you guys can see down here the ATR is starting to drop down. It's back to 50. So this is what we're looking for. You want the ATR to drop down a little lower so that it can be what we consider normal market movement. I'll keep checking the news to see if there's anything here that's, really affecting it too much. Let's go to Biz Talk. Trying to see if there's anything here, any news events that are really to follow. I mean, everything is going to be based off the tariffs. You can see literally everything here is just we're talking about the tariffs and then the possibility of an increased interest rate or a lower interest rate, actually. All right, still just waiting here for the market here to slow down a little bit. It's a steady sell-off. Okay, we're back to 47 ATR. So like I said, guys, just gonna be a matter of time until it starts to drop lower. As we get closer to 40, it's probably gonna taper off a little bit. It's gonna taper off and then it's gonna correct back up. So we're back down to the 40s. What I'm gonna look for here is possible taper off, consolidation, and then a possible correction back up, and then maybe a drop back down. It's just the lower the ATR. Yeah, there's a lot of sellers that are just keep flooding in. So another sell order at 40,900. I'm pretty sure these are sell orders that are they're trying to add on to their position. I don't think these are stop signing fill. I think they're sellers adding on to their position. Or I mean, never mind, I take that back. They could be stops because I think people are also trying to buy the dip here. I think a lot of players in the market are kind of looking for the same thing we're looking for. They're looking for this here to kind of slow down a little bit, consolidate, and then catch the correction. Because I do think the correction is going to happen, but we just got to wait. I mean, it's really just about patience and discipline here, guys. I mean, I'm sure it's tempting to chase these sells, but I do think price eventually is going to slow down, which it is slowing down. And we want that. We want the sideways market and then catch the correction and then possible continuation to the downs. Basically a head and shoulders, right? Something like that. Maybe catch them the push to the upside or catch the correction back down. Doesn't really matter which direction price goes. We just want the market here to slow down a little bit, and it is starting to slow down. So look at the ATR, guys. It's doing exactly what we anticipated. It's down to 46 ATR. Market here is starting to slow down a little bit, and we're starting to get that loop back to the upside, right? You just want to see some sort of correction here. So, like I said, guys, just a matter of patience and just waiting here. It's starting to correct back up. I wouldn't necessarily take this for an MPSV2 for a buy because there's not going to be any confluences for a buy here. I mean, there's no confluences for a sell either because it's so far down, right? If you look at the market profile, it's dropped so much that you're not going to get rejections on either end. Nothing from the top and nothing from the bottom. But for me personally, I would be more inclined to take sells versus buys here, of course. So I would like to see a buy signal come up and then come back down. So I'd look for the retracement up, and then I'd look for the correction back down, and I would just ride this back down. Let's see. William said, "Hey, Sean, how you been? Thank you for being real with me. And when my trading was not going well since the beginning of the year, was able to get a few payouts, had a rough 2 weeks, but now I'm at 50 KPAs. Never seen a more disciplined trader than you." Nice, nice. Congrats, Will. I know, I've known Will, and you guys have probably known Will in this group. Will was like in our group for a while in the beginning. Like, I think during COVID, that's when you first joined in with us, right, Will? And Will had like a taste of success, right? It's just really taking the sells, and it was like really easy to just take sells and catch the drops. And then, it happens with a lot of traders, you kind of lose your edge, and then you start to go into a downward spiral, and you just don't have that consistency anymore. But yeah, I have a talk. I feel like I talk with Will almost maybe every month, if not every other month. And I kind of push Will back into the proper mindset where, you just got to find that consistency and discipline. Like, for example, here, guys, I could have taken a lot of sells here, but even if I was to take these sells, like, for example, the MPSV2 that came up over here, I probably would have gone and stopped out because of the crazy market movement. It might not look like the market's moving very crazy, but if you measure the candles, these are like 100-point candles. So for me personally, it's really just about, I don't think it's about knowing when to enter the market. It's knowing when to sit out of the market, which really makes you a really good trader. You can see for me here, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities where I kind of maybe just fumbled into a position and then just kind of ride this down and then get lucky. But I've gone burnt by that so many times that for me, the real skill in trading is knowing when not to trade. So, okay, we have the buy signal, which came up here. We may have a possible continuation to the downside now, which I'm going to be looking for. So if I do get an MPSV2 for a sell, I think I would be more inclined to take that versus a buy here, of course, right? Sell signal is pending right here. The ATR is currently at 45. It's still a little high, but let me see what the parameters here could look like for a 30-30. So it's still a little high, but it's not like super, super high. Right? If anything, I can probably adjust my TP stop loss from 30-30 to maybe 40-40 instead. Just lower my contract size. Or maybe even 50-50. I don't know. I'll have to see when it happens. Yeah, visual said 4680 possible sweep March 12th low. Let's see. at 46.80. I could see that. Yeah, possible sweep low and then correction back up, of course. All right, so we have the ATR currently at 45. A little tricky here. I'm trying to think whether I want to adjust my TP stop loss to something wider. We just don't have very many confluences here for a sell. Yeah, I have no rejection points here. So if it sets up here, I'll mark it up for you guys, but I just don't really see any confluences here for me to want to take the trade. I don't think this is a good setup that's coming up. I mean, there's a possible rejection right here. That's just one rejection though. Yeah, there's not enough confluences here, guys. If you guys want to take this as an entry, well, we don't have one yet, but I'll mark it up once it gets closer to that point. But I just don't have any confluences here for me to take the sell. You know, for those of you who want to take the entry, I'll mark it up for you guys, but I just don't see anything here for me to want to take it. Yeah. RX said Musk and Trump are going to do a pump and dump. That's basically kind of what's happening here. Yeah, Tarek said their stock is volatile, which is understandable since they just buy BTC. Yeah, Tarek was responding to the MicroStrategy analysis we were looking at earlier. Arc says averaging in the same as scaling in. No, averaging in is buying at a discount. So it's a little it's different. Averaging in is basically buying. So if you're selling, you're basically every time price pushes up, you sell some more. Pushes up, you sell some more. And then vice versa, if you're averaging in the other way, you're buying every time price bounces up or bounces down. So like averaging in is like price pushes up, retraces, you buy. Price pushes up, pulls down some more, you buy some more, etc. That's how you would average in. All right. You're talking about scaling in. So scaling in is basically you're buying as like new levels get broken. So like price pushes up, you buy right here, price pushes up further, you kind of buy some more, you just scale in as price goes up. So it's kind of opposite. Scaling in and I mean it's kind of similar, but it's kind of different because when you're scaling in or if you're buying at a discount, you're buying when price retraces, and then you're scaling in, you're kind of just following a continuation. So slightly different. There's still no MPS V2 here that's set up yet, guys. We're looking for that green candle. There's a green candle that's closing right here. So this is going to start to set up for an MPS V2. Again, like I said, I don't think I'm going to take the entry here because we don't have any rejections. What you're looking for with the rejections here, ARC, is you're looking for something like this, right? It's exactly what it means. Rejection is you're looking for a bounce off any of these price points here, value high, value low, point of control, etc. That there's no rejections here. I mean, there's a rejection right here, but this happened at 6:55, so this is about like 30 minutes ago. You don't have any rejections over here anytime near. So that's why there's no rejections here on the 1 minute. Same with the 30-minute over here. This 30-minute candle open, we were looking for price to retrace up and then bounce off the value low over here, but there's no rejection points. A rejection point would be something like this, where price is rejecting off structure. So there's no rejections here. I mean, there's one here on the 1 hour, but again, this happened about an hour ago. So it's just too far out. I mean, it wouldn't really matter because prices there just wouldn't be rejection points because price isn't following structure right now. It's just kind of in a free fall. So this here is starting to set up right now for an MPSV2, guys. We have a green candle that's starting to close right here. If this candle closes green and the next candle closes red below this black line, this is going to be a possible opportunity for an MPSV2. However, there can't be a buy signal there. So if the buy signal closes, this is going to invalidate it, and there's no longer going to be opportunities for sells. There's going to be opportunities for buys in a sense. So again, if this candle closes red right here, this is a possible opportunity for MPSV2. Personally, I don't like the market conditions right now. Like if this came up, like if we had the sell signal, it came up and it came down right away, then okay, great. I'd be looking to take that. But because this here is going back and forth, I think we're going to get some consolidation here for a bit. So if you guys are looking to take this, I will mark it up for you guys, but I'm not going to take it because I don't have any confluences. I have no rejections, no bounce points, like on anything here. Nothing for market profile, nothing for volume profile, nothing on the clean chart, and nothing for support and resistance. So, and it's not looking like we're going to get it. Buy signal came up. So there's no longer an MPSV2 there for a sell. Now you're looking for an MPSV2 for a buy. But still, there's no confluences here for me. So nothing here on the 1 minute, nothing here on the 30 minute, nothing here on the 1 hour. I mean, there's no confluences at all here. So here's the correction back up that we were kind of talking about, right? So like I mentioned earlier, I said, look out for price to establish a support level, which it's sort of establishing a support level here now, and the correction is starting to happen. So people, like I said, people are averaging into these buys. So if I was to see this here, like I would see buys getting filled right here, or people entering buys here as they average in. So now that price has averaged into this point, basically whoever was averaging into here, they just need price to reach this area up here. If price reaches this area up here, then they've recouped all their profits and they made more profit from this lower area down here. Right? Because if you average in from this point right here, you just need price to get back to this point, and you basically made all your money back plus more on top of that. So that's why this right here, Arc, is a different type of strategy. You can't trade this with Apex though. They don't let you average in like that. Like you can't add losers onto losers. A lot of people did this before and they would get super, super lucky and they make a killing. I mean, it's a strategy type, right? Like if you're average, it's called dollar cost averaging if you want to look into that, Arc, but you can't do that with prop firms, specifically not Apex. They let you add on to it. So like you said, you can scale in, but you can't dollar cost average in. They let you add into winners, but you can't add into losers. So I wouldn't recommend doing it. I mean, I think you can do it during eval phase, but once you're funded, they don't allow for it. It's like one of the biggest rules that they have. All right. So again, like I said, guys, so there's a setup right here for MPSV2. If anybody's looking to take it, this candle is closing in about 12 seconds. Again, I'm not really looking to take any buys here. I think sells would be more ideal. The candle has to close green, which it's not. Didn't close green there. Everything's still bearish here. There's no confluences, so I don't really. I mean, there's nothing. I don't think I'm going to be able to take any entries today, guys, unfortunately. As much as I'd like to take an entry, there's just the only confluence I think we would get would be a clean chart rejection off like a whole number. That's probably the only thing I can get here. So again, like I said, we're waiting for a green candle here to close. If the green candle closes, this will be an entry for MPSV2 for a buy, not one that I would recommend, not one that I'm personally looking to take, because I do think that the market's going to keep dropping. But the ATR is getting lower. So like I said earlier, as the ATR gets lower, there's going to provide opportunity for entries here. So this candle is going to close in about 5 seconds. It's not closing green, so there's no entry there yet. Again, you're looking for a green candle to close. If no green candle closes, then you might shift your analysis back to a sell if a sell signal comes up. But this here looks like an MPSV2 starting to set up for a buy. There just is no confluences here, like I said. If there was confluences, then I would have taken it, but there's just nothing here for me to want to take the buy there, of course. All right, this candle is closing in about 30 seconds. This looks like it's going to be a valid setup for MPSV2. The candle is a little too big, though. This is kind of what screwed us yesterday with our entries. That the candle is just a little too big. If you guys want to take it at your own risk. I'll mark it up for you guys here. I'm not going to take it, of course. But if you guys do want to take it, I'll just mark it up for you guys here. Again, the candle is a little big, so something to look out for. You might want to go for a bigger target, bigger TP stop loss. But all right, there goes the entry right there. I'm not in this position. I'm just following it. This is for 30 points and full TP right there. So if you guys caught that, nice work. If you guys didn't, again, everything here points towards a sell. So I wouldn't necessarily want to be in a buy anyways. But the trade did hit right there, no drawdown. This just goes to show that the strategy still works, but you don't want to take the entries that are risky, in my opinion. I would just wait for the good ones. And this isn't what I consider a good one, of course. All right, we got another 30-minute candle that just closed. I was hoping this would adjust a little bit. It might adjust in a little bit, but for the most part, I don't think so. It looks like the value low is going to stay where it's at. Same with the 1 minute. I'm going to step away for 1 second, guys. I'm going to grab some water. All right, guys, I'm back. So, see what's happened over here. All right, so price is still climbing up. I mean, this might be the area that I mentioned. So it's doing exactly what we talked about earlier. So I said eventually price is going to establish a support level, and then it's going to start climbing up. What I would look for here personally is I look for the correction back down, right? So it looks like it's starting to push up right here, possibly set up for a head and shoulders type pattern. Um, yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for here. So I'm looking for price to kind of climb up a little bit and then make its way back down. It's 7:32 right now, so we still got 30 minutes till 8 o'clock. I don't think this is going to reach the rejection point, though. This is ideally what I would like to see. I'd like to see price kind of push up and then bounce off here and come back down. But I don't think that's going to happen because this is a pretty far push up. It's about 150 points almost. Same with the 1 hour. So in order for this to reach the value low, it's about 150 points. There we go. So price starts to come back down. Let's see. Craig said he's done for the week, not trading tomorrow due to NFP. Will said you can DCA even if the trade goes against you, but you have to watch. I don't think you can, Will. Have you read the rules? Because the rules say you can't DCA again. You can DCA once. That's what it says in the rules. You can DCA once, but anything after that, you're gonna violate. So I'm not sure if they changed it again, but if you look like the most recent rules that they released, they don't allow for DCA. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Yeah, because that's like the whole reason people don't trade Apex anymore, because a lot of people were like huge on the DCA thing. Um, let's see. Yeah, I don't know what the rules were, but yeah, I would double check it first before I would double check it before you do that, because that was like when they first made the big changes for Apex. They they said you could like dollar cost average in once, but then they wouldn't let you do it again. Or you can dollar cost average it in, but you have to be like the trade would have to be going in your direction. So it'd be not really dollar cost averaging, it'd be scaling in, kind of like what Ark was mentioning earlier. But yeah, if you guys plan on doing that, I would say look at the rules, because I know they changed rules a couple times over the past couple. I think they changed it like every year. Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for the update, guys. Yeah. So Visual said Apex you can DCA, but they have a 30% rule. So that kind of makes it impossible. Like basically with the 30% rule, it's really hard to DCA with a 30% rule, the consistency. Because what happens is like for example, if you're to like if you kept trying to dollar cost average into this, let me see. So if you entered right here and then you entered again right here, that's 30% already, right? So it's like they pretty much make it impossible, like because you're gonna hit 30% either way, like for that right there, 30%, and then from this low point to this low point, it's like 40%. And then yeah, eventually you're making money back if you were to catch it, correct back up. But yeah, I think they did that on purpose because it makes it almost impossible to because you're gonna make more profit. Like for example, you're gonna like drop 30%, even if you're taking a small contract size, it's gonna drop. And then when you make it back, yeah, it's gonna look good. But like it would have to be such a small point for dollar cost averaging in. Yeah. I just pulled it up right now, the DCA. So yeah, it does fall within the 30% consistency rule, but yeah, your profits are going to be super, super different. Like you'd have to like, now that I'm thinking about it, like your contract sizes would have to like vary a lot. Like when you're dollar cost averaging in, you're like when you're going lower, your contract sizes have to be really, really small. And then you'd have to like increase your contract size and price goes up. It's just hard. It's hard to do that. Um, Normally you can just go in with like one contract and then just scale in from one contract, but then the consistency is going to be way off because you'll probably go into like heavy drawdown and then the profits will go into heavy profit, but it's going to violate the 30% rule. Yeah, Sam said it's amazing after learning so much, people still fall for martingale DCA. According to me, if you have huge capital, then one can otherwise buy account. Yeah, I agree with you 200%. Like, I think DCA is good on like your own, like if you had your own personal account, right? Because you can kind of just let it run forever. But with prop firms, I feel like they kind of make it impossible for it to work. Yeah, because they're pretty strict about that 30% rule. That's why for me, I stay within the consistency because all my profits and my losses are about the same. So I have like 50% consistency for all of my trades. Even if I like tighten my stop loss a little bit, it still provides it still provides me opportunity to be within the 50 to 40% consistency. All right, so there's nothing here right now, guys. We have possibility of price kind of coming down a little bit, coming back up. I just read your message, Mike. No, I agree with you 100%. It's 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 a little crazy. So we got ARC over here. Damn, so ARC said caught that sell. So ARC caught the sell earlier at about like earlier this morning, and he took a huge profit right there. 5,874. So it looks like ARC caught the sell from earlier this morning, but he just widened his TP stop loss. So what he did right here is he took the MPSV2, the one that I talked about. I think he went in for 100 points TP stop loss. He just widened it out because the ATR was so high. And ARC actually caught this huge drop right here. So there was an MPSV2 here, but because the volatility is so high, you know, like I mentioned, if you want to take any of these entries, just go in with a wider TP stop loss. That's what ARC did here. You can see his timestamps. He got in at like, or he got his profit at 649, and that's where he locked in his profit for the day. So 5,874. Nice work, ARC. I mean, it's a crazy move. I mean, I'm glad it played out for you, but this super risky move right here. But I'm glad you still locked that in, ARC. So nice work. We have an MPSV2 setting up right here, guys. We have a sell signal, a possible retracement right here. The only thing I would be kind of cautious about, like I said earlier, is the here, let me see. Let's see if we have any confluences here. There's nothing on the 1 minute, nothing on the 30 minute, nothing on the 1 hour. We have volume profile over here. It's rejecting off the point of control. I don't like how there's a huge green candle right here, though. Clean chart, we have a rejection right here as well off the whole number, which is at the 41,000 mark. Support resistance. Point of rejection right there off the support, it looks like. All right, so if you guys are looking to take this as an MPSV2, the red candle would have to close below this black line right here. There also can't be a buy signal there. So this is a possible MPSV2 setting up. I think the candle would be considered a little too big. I'm going to hold off on it. I'm not going to take it. If you guys want to take it, I'll mark it up again for you guys here. This is an MPSV2. Again, I just don't like the price action. I think right here, there you go. It's currently running right now. So I don't like the price action here because it's like, it seems like it's in just a big range right now. I mean, you're still trading within the range, so it's not necessarily a bad thing. Yeah, it's not necessarily a bad thing because your target's going to be within the range. But for me personally, there's just not enough confluences there. Move this down a little bit. Yeah, there's no confluences there for me to want to take the sell. There's no rejections off the top point, no rejections here, no rejections here. I mean, a possible rejection right here off the value, the point of control, but not a clean rejection at all. Not really much here off the clean chart either. Yeah. It just didn't really look like a good setup to me. If you guys are in the position, I'll follow it. But yeah, it just didn't really look too great to me. I already made my mistakes this week, so I'm not looking to take anything out of the norm. So I'm not in this position. I'm gonna take it off because I don't want you guys to think I'm in it. Yeah, and it just kind of like, like I said, the price action right here is not really good. What I would like to see here is I would like to see a quick rejection and continuation, like a quick one, not something like this where it's kind of like back and forth, where price is like ranging. But if I was to get an MPSV2, I want a quick one that's just like this, right? Or if there's a buy entry over here for MPSV2, something that's quick like this. The problem is that a lot of these entries, what was happening is they're doing this, right? So it's not really, it's more of a range. The price goes down, comes up, and then it comes right back to like barely breaking the structure there. Like you want to have something like this where price comes down, retraces, and comes back down lower. Where it like really breaks past the structure. All right, guys, 7:45. I'm not really seeing too much happening here. If there's anything that you guys want me to cover, if there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to hop into the chat. We didn't take any official trades today. I mean, it's been a kind of crazy day today after the tariffs. It was kind of expected. It's also NFP week, so there's just a lot of things that are happening behind the scenes that are affecting the market. Let me check CNBC real quick. Any updates? So not really much of an update here, but I mean, it's starting to dump even more. The Dow is currently down 1,500 points. S&P is down 238 points. Nasdaq's down 951 points. Russell 2K is down 118 points, and the VIX is currently up 6 points. So nothing too crazy here. I mean, it's what we expected. Here, let's see. I'm gonna see what that breaking news here was. So Trump tariffs. Let's see what the release is here. Nothing really. It's just the same thing. Trump tariff fallout begins as layoffs, price hikes, and retaliation tanks the market, which was expected. Looks like we're probably gonna get some consolidation here. What I would look for if you guys are looking to take entries is for price to break out of this consolidation range. So like it's probably gonna range here for a bit. And the key thing that you want to look for here is either price to break below and continue dropping, or price to break above and continue climbing. But other than that, I think that's about it. I'm not really going to expect much here. Yeah, there just isn't. So the thing is, I like to use this thing here, what we call market profile. There's not going to be market profile for today very much, unless we get a correction back up, right? Because the market profile will tend to identify a balanced market, right? We don't have a balanced market today. Price is just dumping. So the market profile started up here and it was balanced initially. So initially we had a balanced market here, and then price just started to dump further and further. So what's going to happen here is eventually it's going to be a balanced market. It's just going to take some time. So looking at this here, as price drops down lower, you're going to see this value low. It's going to move a little lower down here. So throughout the day, you're going to get more of a balanced market. It's going to be balanced, but right now we just don't have that price. Like typically what we like to see here is like price to kind of break and retest, right? Something like that. But we're not really having the retest. Price comes down a bit and it never comes back up. So what happens is this is going to establish, this is going to stretch out to like this area down here where it tries to create a market profile. You can look over here from the previous day. So if you look over here previously, see how there's a balance right here? It establishes a profile for the market, right? Price is too cheap right here, or price is too expensive here. And then it pulls back to balance market. Right here, we don't have a balance. Prices just dumped pretty much. I mean, it dumped from here. So like basically from yesterday, this was the balanced market, and then it dumped, and then it went sideways for a little bit and it dumped even further. So it's not really balanced. You can see over here, like if I was to measure this area, this is a balanced market, right? Measure this area, this is a balanced market. This here is not a balanced market. It's like huge, right? This is balanced, then it drops a whole bunch, then it's balanced and it drops a whole bunch. But typically, if you look over here, right, these are balanced markets. These are all balanced markets. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to show you guys that market today is not normal. So a day like this, it's better to just sit out than force any entries here. Because the thing is, eventually it's going to have to balance out. This is what would be considered balanced. So eventually this is going to balance out and it'll come up a little bit and then maybe come back down. There's going to be a correction, right? There's always a correction. When Trump initially released the tariffs, I think in January, the market dropped like this and then it came back up. And then it just created a balanced market. But right now we just don't have that. Looking over here in the 1 hour time frame. Yeah, I mean, same difference. Like if I was to draw this up on the 1 hour, you can see this is a balanced market. This is a balanced market. This is not a balanced market. It's just dumping. So 751 right now, guys. Unfortunately, there's not going to be any entries here that I'm personally looking to take. But that's a good thing, right? Like I said before, guys, I'm just being disciplined in the market. You know, yesterday I kind of traded on tilt a little bit. I got caught in the choppiness of the market and I ended up taking a loss, 2 losses actually. But the win on Monday kind of balanced it out. So we had a win on Monday. We had a loss yesterday. I didn't trade on Tuesday. So I'm basically at like about break even to slight loss overall for my stats for this week so far. So, you know, it's not horrible. Could be worse. I think that's how I always see the market. You know, things could be worse. So yeah, probably not going to see much here. If you guys have any questions, you know, feel free to hop in the chat. See if there's anything else here. Rashida said NQ is at the circuit. Go back over here. NQ. Yeah, you can see right there. NQ is fighting to stay alive. Did the circuit breakers get activated on NQ? I mean, it looks like it's the volatility is pretty flat. It looks like it might have gotten activated, or if not, it's going to be activated pretty soon. Yeah, Mike said I find the MPSV2 fails when there's not much separation on the pivots. I think they're called, yeah, exactly. I agree with you too, Mike. So like looking at this over here, you know, the pivots, there's separation over here, so they're pretty nice, but right now there's not very much separation because price was starting to flatten out a little bit. I mean, this area right here, it's starting to flatten out in general. This price starts to go sideways. Let's see. So ARC is asking, how does the new indicator work? Those things at the top of the wicks. Yeah. So ARC is talking about these right here. So ARC, the reversal patterns right here, these are reversal patterns. So these things on top of the wicks, the E means engulfing. That means that this candle is eating this previous candle right here. It's a reversal pattern. And then same with the V1. So right here, engulfing and V1, these are reversal patterns. Basically, a V1 is the double body rejection. This indicates that price is going to push down lower. Basically, so to put things simply, when you see these these little markers here, these markers are indicating that price is going to swing the other way. When you put this in conjunction with like the momentum signal and the trend. So for example, here, see how price is coming down super heavy? Basically, whenever you see the top little symbol right there, this indicates that price can keep dropping lower. When you see the one from the bottom, but trending, price is trending the other way, this is usually just a retracement. It's a retracement until it turns into a reversal. Let's see, Shiv said, I thought circuit breaker was based on S&P at 7% according to data. It just kind of depends on like what's going on in the market, Shiv. So like for specific broker, yeah, you're correct with it being 7%, like if the market's going to shut down. But with specific brokers or like with prop firms, they can set their own circuit breakers, right? Like they try to set it before it gets to the 7%. So I think Top Step sets it at 5%. I think the same with Apex too. They do that because they want to halt trading before the actual circuit breaker gets activated, right? Because if the actual circuit breaker gets activated, then they're screwed because everybody's in a position or everybody's actively trading and they can't stop, they can't halt because the actual market is halted. So they try to set it a little before. That's why they have it at 5% versus 7%. But the actual market will like stop. Like what I mean by that is when price reaches that 7% mark, the market will like literally just go flat. It's like markets close. But with these prop firms, they just end. I think what they do is they automatically liquidate your position. So if you're in a position, they'll just close you out because they want you to be out of the position before it actually freezes. And then they set their circuit breaker for, I think, like 30 minutes usually. Market will typically stop for like maybe 5 to 30 minutes, depending on how bad it is. I don't think it's dropped that far though. So if you measure here from up here for YM, yeah, it's I mean it's not that far down. It's at like 1%. So or I mean it might be higher because it's pre-market, I guess. Okay, gotcha. So S&P is currently at 4.28. Yeah, I'm not sure when they measure it. I'm assuming it's from like 5:30 pre-market. So I guess it's like a little more than 1%. So I don't think YM is going to be, I don't think, so the thing is the volatility is already dead. So I don't think the circuit breakers are going to get activated. They're just going to, they're just going to stay flat. So I think right here, price is probably just going to go back and forth for like a pretty long time, maybe until like mid-session. I don't know if Trump's going to be speaking today. Let's check the calendar real quick. If Trump is speaking today, there's going to be another drop for sure. Or not a drop, but there's going to be a movement. So Trump isn't scheduled to speak today. Tomorrow is going to be kind of crazy because we have Powell speaking. So I think Powell's going to make some remarks based on like what happened with the tariffs. He's going to discuss, the future economic projections. Of course, it's not going to be good, but knowing Powell, you guys know how Powell is. Like he's very optimistic. So he's going to basically say things that are not going to, I guess, in a sense, affect the market too directly. He's going to be very conservative with what he says. All right, guys, we're getting close to 8 o'clock. Unfortunately, today's not one of those days that, well, today's a good learning experience, I feel like. Today was a good day to understand when to sit out of the market because for a lot of people, you don't know when to sit out. There's just a lot of stuff happening, but you can see the market here is starting to go back to normal. The ATR is back to 36. So if you guys decide to keep trading after this, I mean, you guys can. It's starting to drop back down to 36. So like I said earlier, I was gonna wait for this to drop down to 36. I was hoping it dropped down earlier, like closer to like 7 o'clock, 7:30. I mean, obviously you can see it took a while for it, but you can see the market is starting to kind of stabilize a little bit here. Earlier we had this big sell-off, and it's like really risky to take trades here because the volatility is too high. It's easy to get stopped out. But now that the volatility is back to normal, you can actually look for MPSV2s that are a little more in line with what we're looking for here. The only problem again is that we don't have any confluences, so that's why I don't think it's really a good time to take trades here to begin with because there's just no confluences here. If you're going to be taking MPSV2s, you're just going to take them blindly, basically like as is. which is okay. There's no problem with taking them as is. It's just for me personally, I'd like to take them with some sort of confidence. So right here on the 1 hour, we do have a rejection off the top end now. So this is it's starting to move with price. Like I said earlier, eventually this is going to create stability, or it's going to create, market structure. So like I was talking about earlier, like market structure is like normal like this right here. But now that we have this, it's going to have market structure, and you're probably going to see some sort of correction at least, where it ends up staying within a parameter. The only problem is that the MPSV2 already came up for a sell. So there's not much else here to take. So if we were to mark this up, so price pushed up and then it came down from here, I guess. I mean, it still wouldn't make a difference because there's not going to be any opportunities here for there's not going to be any opportunities here for an A plus plus. Because it was engulfing, engulfing, engulfing. The A plus plus basically would have happened either here or it would have happened on the MPSV2. Yeah, exactly. So Ark said, I get it. We need our setup to happen at structure. Yeah, exactly. So what I'm looking for over here, Ark, is I was looking for price to maybe push up to like this area, bounce off it, and then I take the entry as it comes back down lower right here. So I would have caught this as price came down lower. My entry probably would have happened somewhere around here, but we just don't have that because price is so far away. Same with this over here, right? I mean, there's now a rejection. So the sellers are actually looking okay now because we do have a rejection right here. Market basically adapted with where price is pushed to. So if you get a sell entry, I would take it, but it would have to come up like, I mean, you'd have to. So what you need here is you need to get a buy signal. You need to get a buy signal, have price retrace up, and then come back down. So I let it push up, and then as it comes back down right here, that's where I would take my entry. Because now we do have the rejections right here, Arc. You can see here a little better. So we got a 1 hour rejection. We got a 30-minute rejection. You have rejection right here off the volume profile. So that's 3 confluences. You have rejection right here off the clean chart whole number. This is at 40,950. So you got about 4 confluences here. You got one on the 30-minute. You got one on the 1 hour. You have one over here on the volume profile, 1 minute. You have one over here on the 1 minute clean chart. And then you have there's nothing here on the SR. So basically you have 4 confluences: clean chart rejection, volume profile, market profile 1 hour, and market profile 30-minute. But you would need this to push up. So you need this to push up with the buy signal and then come back down. But we just don't have that right now. Yeah, CJ said Trump was scheduled to speak yesterday, but I don't know if he ever did. Yeah, so he did. Trump spoke yesterday. That's when he released the tariffs. CJ, that's why the market crashed at like lunchtime. Well, not crashed, but it came down super heavily. So Trump spoke yesterday at around noon. That's when the drop started happening right here. That's when he announced the tariffs and he was signing off on the executive orders, and then it just came crashing down. All right, guys, it's 8 o'clock. I think I'm done for the day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. I just don't think there's anything here for you guys to take. Obviously, you'd have to wait for that retracement, but my cutoff for trading is 8 o'clock. I'm okay with not taking any trades today. The good thing is that I didn't take any losses, so I didn't add on to my losses for this week. The stats for this week aren't bad. So I took a trade on Monday. I had my win on Monday, and then I had a loss yesterday, which kind of brought me back to like break even. And then I had a loss on some accounts and some wins on the other accounts. And that brought my accounts back to like right now I'm like at a break even and a slight profit because of that issue that I had yesterday with my with my with my laptop shutting down on me. So I think that's it, guys. If there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to hit me up. There's just nothing here to take, so there's nothing to really Like there's nothing that you guys can take here, even if you wanted to. But I'll be back tomorrow, same place, same time, guys. We're gonna wrap it up with NFP. Tomorrow's gonna be a pretty crazy day. It's NFP data. If you guys are not familiar with NFP, it stands for non-farm payroll. It's where all the employment data comes out. And then we have some inflation news tomorrow as well. Let me check real quick. Yeah, so tomorrow we have a lot of stuff coming up. Pre-market, we have the non-farm payrolls. That's what we're expecting. That's the biggest news event for the month. Unemployment rate is going to come out. Unemployment rate for the month of March. We have average earnings year over year, non-farm payrolls. You can see that it's forecasted to be negative. So everything is supposed to be negative tomorrow. It means that there's a lot of layoffs happening. Of course, people are not working. Non-farm payrolls have dropped from 151 to 140, or it's forecasted to drop. And then we have Fed Chair Powell speaking at 8:25. So basically all the news for tomorrow is supposed to be negative. It's not going to be good for the market in general because we have the drop from the to the possibility of a recession kicking in. And we'll kind of see what happens tomorrow morning. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for the day. If you guys have anything to hit me up about, hit me up on Discord. Otherwise, I'll see you guys back here tomorrow for the next live session. Yeah, Kyle said wacky week. Yeah, NFP is 7:30 Central. All right, 5:30 Pacific, 7:30 Central. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for the day. If you guys have any questions, hit me up. Otherwise,